Here we go, guys. This is our inaugural episode of How Men Grieve. My name is Kay Rogers, and I'm joined with Andrew Rogers and Aaron Adams, and we're all hosts of How Men Grieve.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kay, also known as The Boss.
Is that what we're going with?
Okay. Yeah, we're going to go with that. And this is going to be in the podcast, by the way.
That's fine. I
I
guess.
assume it would be.
Yeah. So, we decided to do this podcast because we wanted to talk about, events in life that cause men various forms of grief and how we have this taboo that men aren't supposed to feel emotion or pain. And so we're going to start talking through our journey of what brought us here. And as we progress through our podcast, we're going to have interviews with several different men and whoever and women and get different perspectives on how they view men's reaction to grief. And so I think we all have a little bit of a unique perspective, and our journey started back in June of 2010, June 20th to be exact. It was Father's Day. Yep. And interject at any point, guys.
Yeah.
To throw your perspective in this.
Absolutely.
We all had a great day that day. It's Father's Day. Aaron, you got to spend some time with your dad, and Andrew, you and Nick went and spent some time with your stepdad, and then you guys all come and we got to spend some time together. It was actually a really good day. And then,
do you think we should maybe clarify our relationship here?
Well, it's yes.
Yeah. People are probably listening like, okay.
These guys have no idea what they're doing. You're right. We don't.
Nope.
So I'm the dad, and then Andrew is my son, and Aaron is my stepson.
But also the favorite.
And also...
Well, I was at first, so...
He's right.
And so apparently this podcast is going to be a competition on who's the favorite, but I'm the favorite because I'm the dad.
Oh, wait. I thought that's what the point was.
What?
I thought we were just competing for your affection. Am I wrong?
Well, you're both not getting any of it, so it's equal. Right? Yeah, we're going to keep this in the podcast. People are like, what are they talking about? Anyway, so we started our journey on June 20th, 2010. It was Father's Day. It was a very busy day. We did all kinds of different things. We're a blended family, so Aaron had to go spend some time with his dad and stepmom and celebrating Father's Day with them, and Andrew and Nicholas had to go spend some time with his mom's stepdad and celebrate some time with his stepdad on Father's Day. And then they came to back to our house, and we all celebrated Father's Day as a family. And busy day. It was a great day. And I remember you guys were asking, hey, can we go build a fire outside?
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that, right?
Yep.
And that lasted about 15 minutes. And then at some point or another, Andrew decided to go to bed, and he was probably... who knows what he was doing. Well,
I remember we all jumped on the trampoline together.
You guys jumped on the trampoline.
Did you not?
No, I was trying to get the fire to start. It was just smelling like hell.
Oh, that's right.
Wet.
That's right.
That's why we came back inside. Because I couldn't get it to start.
Well, I remember me and your mom, we went to bed.
Yeah. And then we actually started a movie together.
Yep.
We were all watching Law Abiding Citizen with Gerard Butler.
Oh, that's an awesome movie.
It is a sweet movie. That twist ending gets you.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? We'll watch that later. But then I remember me and Pam, we went to bed, and I don't know, it was like Nick. I remember Nick coming upstairs, and it was like maybe, 10:15 or something, and me and your mom both had to work the next day, and he's like, hey, Dad. I'm like, what? In my grumpy old man way. He's like, can I stay up and watch a movie with Andrew and Aaron? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I said, hey, I love you, but don't bug me again. So he went downstairs, right? Okay, great. He was happy. He went downstairs, and then, I was starting to fall asleep, and I think it was you, Aaron. Well, I know it was you.
Well, Andrew had gone to bed during that time. We had started the movie, and Andrew went down to bed.
Yeah. And so you come got me.
Yeah.
You went upstairs, and you come got me, and you said, hey, okay, you need to get downstairs. Nick's having an asthma attack. He can't breathe.
Yeah.
And so I remember jumping up out of the bed and running downstairs, and Nick was in the game room. Mm-hmm. And I remember him sitting there, but I got to him, and he was, I don't know if there's not a visual here, but he was sitting on the couch, and he had both of his hands on his knees, and he was leaning forward, and he was just trying to breathe as hard as he could, and he had a nebulizer treatment going. And me and your mom got down there, and I got to him, and I was talking to him, and I remember I was rubbing his back, trying to calm him down, because a lot of times, kids with asthma, if you can calm them down, they open up, right?
Yeah.
That panic kind of seizes them up, and it wasn't working. He wouldn't calm down. He was not getting anything, and I remember he was beating on his chest. Remember, he was like punching his chest, trying to get himself to open up. And so I grabbed his nebulizer, I threw another buterol pack in there and threw it in and gave it to him. And he started breathing, and I remember I was talking to him and telling him to calm down, it's going to be okay, it's fine. And then I remember watching him, he just turned blue. And this really, it was not like a blue, like a bright blue. I just remember it was almost like a faint shade of blue around his lips and his mouth and everything.
It's almost like when you're messing around with the settings on a picture you've taken, and you mess with the hue color.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's like his color just got dragged down to the cool end.
Yeah, they just it took it down, and then I remember his eyes just kind of rolled on the back of his head, and he went down.
Yeah.
And he was on the couch when that happened, and so I remember I yelled at Pam, and I said, call 911, and I laid him down on the floor, and I started CPR, and I think I told you, Aaron, to run upstairs and grab me some shorts and a tank top, and I told you, Andrew, to get the dog put in the kennel and get the front door opened up.
Yeah, and call my mom.
And call your mom.
Let my mom know what's going on.
Yeah. And then I had started trying to do CPR on him, and I was breathing for him. And I remember, every time I was an EMT at that point in my life. I was volunteer firefighter and EMT, and I put his head, in that rescue position and started trying to breathe for him. And every time I tried to blow in his mouth, everything I blew came right back out the corner of his mouth. And so I repositioned his head, and I tried to put my mouth over his nose and mouth for a young child. They tell you to do that. And I blew in, and everything came right back out. And I knew we were in trouble because no matter what I did, I couldn't get air into him. And that went on for a couple of minutes. And I remember your mom standing in the room, and she was, upset, panicking, flipping out.
She was really panicking. I mean, we all were, but
right.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't, but just maybe a couple minutes.
It was fast.
Yeah, and then
there was a first responder that lived right up the block, wasn't it?
Yeah, he lived right like a half a block up from us.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I remember standing outside because we had opened the door or whatever. Was standing outside, and I remember him flying up and rushing into the house for us.
Yeah.
Yep, and I remember I was still doing CPR on Nicholas, and he went to start doing chest compressions. I said, he don't need chest compressions. He has a pulse. We got to breathe. He needs to breathe.
Yeah.
And so he took over rescue breathing, trying to do CPR on him. And then at some point, Andrew, I remember your mom showed up, and I don't remember exactly when.
I want to say she got there either right before the ambulance got there, or right as, I'm pretty sure. It was right about that same time.
Was it right at the same time?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I can't say with certainty, but it was right about that same time. Because it didn't take her long.
No, she was there quick. And I remember she was standing in the room, and by that time, the rest of the paramedics have showed up, and they took over, and they were working him. I mean, they were working him hard. And me and your mom, Andrew, and your mom, Erin, were standing there, and you guys were standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just kind of standing there. We didn't know what to do, right?
I mean, there was nothing to do.
No.
You just had to hope.
Oh, man. I was freaking out. I didn't show it outside.
Right. You were very calm.
But
you were the polar opposite of what Mom was going through.
Yeah.
What my mom was going through.
Yeah.
I don't even remember Christine being in there. It was such a blur. There's some things that you've said now that I don't even remember.
Really?
It's like, I don't remember Christine being there, and I don't know if I really even remember the first responder trying to do the breathing for him. Like, obviously it happened. Like, you remember it. It's just so much happening in that one moment.
Yeah.
It's like the I don't know if you were you in there when he, like, lost consciousness?
I was. I got up there maybe 30 seconds before.
Yeah.
I remember you coming down and getting me, and I mean, I got up to the doorway of the room 10 seconds before he passed out.
Right.
Something like that. It wasn't long at all.
Because, like, I don't know about you, but the thing that really, like, has stuck with me that I think I've probably struggled with the most has been, you know, like you were saying, him standing there beating on his chest trying to get himself to breathe, and you calming him down, and then, like, when he lost consciousness, like, that's when it just kind of all was just like, oh, like, yeah, this is
real,
very serious.
Yeah.
Right, because we'd seen him go through a lot of asthma attacks over the years, but it was never like that. It was never that severe.
No.
And I was hoping that it would be, because he'd been to the hospital before for asthma attacks. I was hoping that it would be like one of those times where he got to the hospital and they were able to help him out and he would be fine.
Right.
I'm
sorry, I was just trying to...
No, you're fine. You know, I know one of the things that I remember, and stupid as this sounds, and as crazy as it sounds.
Do I have something else to add to this? Whatever you say, we'll see what you say.
That's fine. But I remember laying there, and people, the things that come through your mind when life is happening. And the reason I told you to get me a pair of shorts and my tank tops is all I could imagine was, I don't want the paramedics to see me laying here on the floor in my underwear doing CPR on my son. I want to have clothes on.
Right. That is really random.
I mean,
that thought even crossed your mind.
It's just, I don't know why.
I didn't even question it.
But I mean,
but it was like, yeah, obviously you want clothes.
I think in those kind of situations, your brain picks on certain things that don't really matter as much to distract you from the bigger picture, so you're not sitting there thinking about the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
That would be my opinion. I mean, I'm not...
Well, I mean, to add on that, while all of this was happening, the last thing that he did before he started all this was he went to the bathroom, and it smelled horrendous. And the whole time all this is happening is I'm sitting here thinking, this is crazy, and I feel bad for the paramedics having to smell his poop smell in the hallway. It's like, so like, I think there's some truth to that where your brain is just like, what else can I focus on except for this this horrible thing that's happening?
You know, the thing that sticks out with me, besides the fact that I didn't want to be, you know, in my underwear when the paramedics showed up, and I thought it was bad enough you guys had to sit there and watch me in my underwear trying to do that.
Honestly, I didn't even remember that you're in your underwear until we started talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I just didn't pick up on that part of it.
Maybe it's because we were so used to you always being just in your underwear that it just didn't even occur to us.
Yeah, I've changed that a little bit. I try to put on shorts more often.
It was odd seeing you in your underwear not playing Guitar Hero.
Don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. I'm still the Guitar Hero master. Just saying. But
I'm gonna have to start borrowing.
Whatever. It was on hard. I couldn't play the extra hard because you guys were totally better than me. Anyway,
it's called expert.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I still miss that fur coat. That's an amazing thing to do Guitar Hero. Especially when I played the 80s Guitar Hero.
You're just reliving your dreams there.
Well, you know what? When you get to my age, you relive everything you can. Except what we're talking about, right?
I am Motley Crue.
Whatever. You don't even have a voice. But I remember that, and then, you know, I thought to myself, you know, as I've reflected, and I've kind of taken that, you know, that hard look in the mirror at myself and kind of try to figure out and analyze my feelings from when that day, that hour, because if you remember, that was an hour.
was it even an hour? From the time it started to when the ambulance took him, there's no way that was an hour.
No, that was like 25 minutes.
Yeah. It seemed like forever.
I think the part of the day that sticks out the most was like what he said, that hour where I was trying to start the fire, where he came up to the room and said something to him until everything kind of happened that night. I don't remember the most of that day. I do remember that night where we were all hanging out and trying to start a fire, and you guys jumping on the trampoline.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Because like you mentioned that I went and saw my dad, and I know I did,
right?
But I could not tell you at all what happened.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what we did, but I do.
I'll be honest with you guys. If you guys asked me today what you gave me for Father's Day that year, I don't remember.
Oh, I have no idea either. My mom was telling me one of the times I was over there with her that me and Marty had some conversation that day that, stuck out to her, but I didn't even remember that we had it.
You know what? That's a person we should freaking talk to here when we do our next episode.
Definitely.
We need to get Marty in here and start talking to Marty, because I know he's got a totally different perspective, because unfortunately he had to walk in a little bit, not late, but this all had happened, and the way the circumstances fell, he didn't get to see any of this till he got to the hospital.
Right.
Well, and there was also that time where, I don't know how much you remember of this, Andrew, but like after they had taken him, obviously you and Mom both went. Our younger sister, Chloe, was still sleeping. And so we were basically babysitting while you guys went to the hospital. And so...
Yeah, that was a tough choice to make at that point. I remember, so they scooped him up. They didn't work him very long. I mean, it was short. Yeah. And I know from my experience when I was an EMT and a firefighter, they basically came in, they scooped him up, and they got him in the ambulance. They knew they had to get him there quick and in a hurry now.
I mean, it was lights and sirens.
Oh, yeah, all the way there.
Left. Yeah.
And so me and your mom and Christine were leaving, and the police came up to us and said, we can't let you ride in the back of the ambulance. You guys have to drive to the hospital. And they said, where do you need? I said, you need to go to Methodist.
How hard was that to hear when they said that you weren't allowed to ride with him? Because obviously it's your son and things aren't going well.
Why weren't you allowed to ride with him?
Legality.
That and, I don't know, one extra person in the ambulance has to be a hindrance to space and everything.
I don't know the official.
Yeah. Right.
But I would imagine there's a lot of legalities in that. It's like the liability and all that kind of stuff, and the paramedics are in there doing their work. I can honestly see, and this is just my perspective, is that if they let a parent go in with the ambulance when they were doing all the work they were trying to do, where a parent could probably lose a little bit of control and become a bit of a hindrance to the medical necessity of what was going on, right?
That makes sense.
My feelings when they said that to me, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I really was. I'm like, I'm getting the van, I'm going.
So you just knew that I'm right here behind him.
Yeah, I'm going. I didn't even care about the ambulance. I'm going to the hospital.
Did they police escort you there?
No.
So what? Did you have to drive the speed limit all the way there?
No. I didn't have to.
Well, I mean...
I should have. I didn't.
Well, no, I don't think anybody would blame you for that.
At that point, I wasn't asking permission. I was going to the hospital. I was going to get there as fast as I possibly could. Right? So, you guys asked an interesting question. What was my thought on that? So, what was your guys' thoughts when you guys came up? And, you had to come get me. And Andrew, you came up and you guys seen me do what I was doing. And your mom in the room having a fit, Aaron. And you had to call your mom, Andrew. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your viewpoint, Aaron, on your mom and what you were seeing. And then, Andrew, let's talk about having to make that phone call and then what you were seeing. Because those are very, very different perspectives, and they're impactful perspectives. Let's start with you, Aaron.
I don't know. I think for me it was because mom was okay for the most part. She was panicking, but it wasn't until he lost consciousness that she really that's when it really set in.
Right.
And I know I've never seen her react to anything that way. I've never seen her panic, anything close to that. And so I think that was something where you see someone that you're super close to like that start panicking like that, it's really hard to keep your own composure. And it's not something I had ever seen or that I've seen since in really anybody. Because, I mean, I know you were probably panicking on the inside, but you've always been really calm, cool, and collected most of the time. And so seeing Mom freak out like that really, it scares you, honestly. It scared me. Because when the parent in the situation who's supposed to have, like, the control and, like, all that, when they start freaking out at 16, you're going, oh, like, this is not under any of our control. No one here knows what to do, except for these paramedics who are on their way but not here yet. So, I mean, everybody was just panicking. I mean, there wasn't really anything else to do. So, how did it feel seeing your mom? Or what did you see?
Honestly, I don't remember. Like, I remember my mom being there, but I don't remember a lot of the interaction. Back to, like, thinking random things. I remember, maybe it's not really random, but whenever it happened, I was outside smoking when I wasn't supposed to be.
What?
You knew that.
I didn't know that. This is new.
You knew that
well,
too.
Good to know.
I might have at the time. I don't remember that.
You knew that too at the time. So I had just come inside and I was walking downstairs and I heard footsteps, like your footsteps, which I could tell the difference, stomping down the stairs. So I was like, oh, I'm caught. That was the first thing that I remembered. And then Aaron came down and got me and I was like, okay, I'm not caught, but what is going on? And then I kind of got up there right as he was losing consciousness and everything. I feel like I just went on autopilot after that. I did what I was asked to do, and I didn't know how to take the situation.
When you called your mom, what did you say?
Do you remember? Honestly, I don't remember exactly. I think it was probably something to the effect of, Nick is having an asthma attack. You need to get here now. I know it was a brief phone call, but I don't remember exactly everything that I said or if I explained the severity of it. I think I just told her she needs to get here.
When your mom got there, Andrew, and she came in the room, and I remember she's standing there, she's like, and I remember her saying over and over, he looks like crap. He looks like crap.
Yeah.
And I remember when she said that, I will be honest, that is the first time I feel like I failed to save him. She didn't do anything wrong. Don't get me wrong when I say that.
Right.
But I remember look at your mom's face, and everybody's in that room, and the impact of the situation and everything that's going on. That was the first time that I felt like I had failed. Because as a dad, my job is to protect my family and to keep them safe and to keep them healthy and to do all those things because, that's what men do, right?
Right.
We're strong. Yeah. We're impenetrable. We never fail.
Strong is a
relative
term.
But we never fail, right? We're the foundation of the family. We keep everybody okay and safe. And I remember thinking to myself when she was saying that, my God, I couldn't save him this time, or now I've failed. And it was weird. And obviously this now, it's been 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is a perspective 9 years later. I know now, looking back, I didn't fail.
No.
I just couldn't save it.
And, I have it's nowhere near as impactful, but I have my own thoughts on that for, so before I even came and got you, he was in the bathroom, like we said, and he started blowing it up. But then he started coughing, and that was something we had just grown accustomed to. Like, Nick was always coughing. We always knew that. And it went on for a while, and I was like, after a little while, it was like, okay, what's going on? And so that's when I went in there, and I actually asked him, what's wrong? And he was struggling, and he was breathing at the time, and he just said, I can't breathe. It's like, where's your inhaler? And he said, I already tried that. And then that's when I went up and got you. And so the thought of failure on my end, because like, yeah, you're saying as the father of the family, you should be the protector, but to some extent, I feel like as an older brother, you also have that thought that this is my younger brother. Have we said how old he was when this happened?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
He was
11.
Yeah, he was 11.
Yeah. So he was our little brother. And so the thing that I have always thought, and it was actually one of the first things I said on our way to the hospital, after you guys had been there and come back, it was like, I should have gotten to him sooner. I shouldn't have just blown it off, thinking, oh, that's just what he does. Like, I've always wondered if I got to him sooner, if he would have had a better chance to make it through that. And I know now, and even back then, you know, Marty was driving us there. It was Mom, Christine, Mom and Marty. I don't know if Christine was in the car or not, but they came and got Andrew and I, and somebody was there for Chloe. I don't remember, or we might have taken
her. Aunt Crystal.
Aunt Crystal showed up.
Yeah, she went there with Chloe.
And so, I mean, that was one of the first things I said when I got in the car, and Marty was like, "This is not your fault. Like, do not blame yourself." And you try to remember that, even when you think about it, but there's always that, like, what if? Like, what if I would have gone earlier?
You know, it's funny you bring that up because what I've learned about that what if, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I truly believe, and if you guys disagree, chime in. But as men, we're trained to have that what if doubt, that what if nerve, right? And I
can see that.
We don't think emotionally, right? Men are mathematical, right? Our brains think about it, the black and white, the here, the now, blah, blah, blah. What makes sense, what don't. What does not make sense. We're not in tune with the emotional side of ourselves, and to say, the what if is a guilt. In my mind, the what if is a guilt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And definitely. We torture ourselves with the what if. If I would have just done something 5 minutes sooner, and if I would have done something, yesterday, or whatever it is. But the reality of it is, things happen the way they happen because that's just the way they happen.
Right.
Yeah. We can't go back and change any of that. We can't change 10 seconds before, 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. We did what we could do at the time that we had to do it. That's the best we could do.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I think in that circumstance, we did the best job that any one of us three could have done.
Did the doctors that worked on him or the paramedics that got to him, did they say anything about if anything could have been done? Yeah, so I was sitting in the room with Nicholas. We haven't gotten to that side of the story, but I'll talk to that. We were sitting in the room. Actually, we weren't. It was just me. And I don't remember where everybody else was at. I think that's when you guys went and did the, what was that page you guys created? Do you know what I'm talking about? I know what you're talking about. I don't remember. It was basically like it wasn't a donation thing, was it? No, it wasn't a donation because we didn't even know that was going to happen then. But anyway, you guys weren't in the room. Nobody's in the room. I was sitting there, and I remember I was sitting next to your brother, and I was just sitting there. And I remember in my mind, I'm just thinking, how is this even real? I'm sitting there holding my son. He was gone. Nick was gone at that time. Mm-hmm. We were keeping him alive so we could donate his organs. And I remember, they talked about his involuntary nerve movements, right? Where his hands would move, his feet would move, whatever would move. And I remember just putting my hand on his hand, and I just sat there and I just closed my eyes, and I was living in that moment. As crazy as that may sound, I'm just like, I'm going to live in this moment because I wanted to feel him move a
a little bit longer. And I remember I was sitting there, and my chair was kind of facing the entrance of our room. And the doctor that had been working with us the whole time, he just barged in, and he's a bigger guy. He's a big guy, and he had a big beard and whatever. And he walked up to me, and I was sitting there, and he put both hands on each arm of my chair, and he got his face within a foot of mine. And he looked at me, and he goes, I just need to tell you, the best chance your son had to survive, you gave him. And he got up, and then he walked out. Wow. And I thought, okay.
Was that enough, though?
Yeah,
was that satisfying? Not satisfying, but did it give you any relief?
It made me feel good at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing about loss, no matter what anybody says to you, to me, to you, Aaron, to you, Andrew, I think everybody's intentions are good. They want to say those magical words that's going to make this pain go away, right?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to, and I get it. I get it. And as weird as as weird as this may sound, sometimes I almost feel like when they say that to me, it's insulting.
Yeah.
It's like, I appreciate your sympathy, but you can't make it feel better, right? You can't say those magic words because there are no magic words.
Well, and then from the other side of that, it's like, what do you say to somebody? Like, there's nothing that anybody can say that's going to make this feel any better.
But I think that's the point.
Yeah.
I don't want you to try to make me feel better. I didn't ask that. I didn't ask for your sympathy. And as selfish as that may sound, and I do appreciate when people are trying to, at least show some human compassion, right?
Yeah, and I think there's a big difference between sympathy and empathy, too.
Well, or sympathy and just, they don't want to be you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, when they look at you, it's not sympathy. They just don't want to be you.
Right.
I don't want to feel like you feel. Because I don't know what you feel like, but I certainly know I don't want to go through what you're going through. And that's fantastic, because I don't want them to have to feel that.
Right.
But I also don't want to I don't want to be looked at that way, because you can see it in their face. You can see it in the way they talk to you. You can see it in their demeanor to you. They pity you.
Yeah.
They view you as less than them, in a way. To me, it feels that way.
No, I definitely had some conversations about it that I could definitely feel that may really bother me at the time. I never appreciated that.
No. Yes, what we went through sucks beyond words. And there are no words that's ever going to make you understand what it feels like unless you've gone through that.
What about, if someone just comes up and says, I don't even know what to say, but I'm sorry that this is happening. Does that preemptive, I don't know what to say, but I'm going to offer you what I think is the best I can do?
To me, that's the most honest person giving their sympathy that they can. And typically my response to them is, thank you. I appreciate that.
That was something that was really hard to figure out at first. Is what do you say to sorry? Because the normal response when someone says sorry, at least for manners' sake, is it's okay. But it's not. So I don't know if you had to think about this, but how many times did people say sorry to us at the visitation and the funeral?
Right.
It was hundreds. And so thank you was all I could come up with. Because, I don't know. When you hear it so many times over and over, it kind of just kind of falls flat after a little while.
Well, especially in that place right after it happens where you're not, there's a lot of feelings going on there, so you're not at the most mentally stable or sound, so it gets old dealing with for sure, and knowing how to respond to that.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, did you just resort to saying thank you, Andrew? Was that your response too?
Pretty much. I don't remember ever saying anything else.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just wouldn't say anything.
You just give that, head nod.
Mm-hmm.
What else can I say?
Yeah. At what point did it make you guys mad?
I don't know if I was ever, I don't know if I was ever angry. I was never mad at somebody for saying it to me. I think it was more so, I was mad that nobody had something, I guess, worthwhile to tell me. It all just kind of sounded the same from no matter who it came from. It all just, after a little while, you just get fatigued. And I don't know if it's because I didn't like what they were saying, or if it was just I'm just annoyed that I'm hearing the same thing over and over and over.
I think for me, there was people that I didn't really associate with beforehand, that then afterwards wanted to act like they were involved or that we were way more friendly than we were.
There was a lot of that.
In order to put on that image like they were involved or that it somehow affects them when it absolutely did not. That's the kind of that's the kind of stuff that would make me upset. And then there's also times where I would try to have a conversation with somebody and bring up something completely different. And I'd be like, yeah, but what happened was so messed up though. It's I'm not trying to talk about that right now.
I'm obviously changing the subject.
And that literally happened to me. No, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm trying to talk about something positive. I'm trying to completely ignore that. And that...
Yeah. It's like when they say that to you, it's well, that's totally messed up. Yeah, I pretty much already know that. I was there when it happened.
Yeah.
Thanks for the revelation.
And I just walked away anytime that happened. It's okay, I'm done with this conversation.
The reality is, guys, they weren't there, and unfortunately, you guys had to sit there and watch your brother die on the floor. I mean, if we really put this in perspective...
That bluntness just really hurts sometimes. Just to say that it sucks. It sucks to even hear.
But I don't say it to be, I'm not trying to hurt you guys.
No.
But the reality is, let's face it, guys. When somebody comes and tells us, that just really sucks for you guys. You have no idea how bad it sucks. You don't even know.
It's kind of just disrespectful, too.
I think so, too. I feel so mad when somebody says that to me. Dude, that sucks so bad. I couldn't even imagine. No, you really can't.
That sucks is something that you say when someone's they didn't have the drink I wanted.
No.
That sucks.
Yeah, they didn't have my Vegas bomb.
Yeah. Oh, your brother died. That sucks. Are you serious?
Let's just sum it up so simply.
Yeah.
Right.
Acting like they... I don't even know. I don't even know how... It just... That sucks is the worst.
Dude, I lose my mind when somebody says, well, how does that really feel? Do you really think there are words that I can say that's going to make you know how it feels to watch your kid die?
No.
There's no way to explain that.
Right? I mean, when I tell people that, and the bluntness is brutal for a reason.
Right.
Let's face reality, guys. This is a miserable life event that we've had to endure. And you guys, and from a father's perspective, you guys had to watch stuff that I wish I could have taken that you guys would not have ever had to see. But you did.
Yeah, but I feel the same way about you, too.
But that's a dad's job.
It's not a dad's job to watch their son die.
No, but it's a dad's job to protect his children.
Yeah.
Right? And so even though I was watching one thing happen, I wish I could have protected you guys from that too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's what we talk about here. Why men grieve? Because these are the choices we were faced with. From a dad's perspective, my job is to protect my children. And in this particular case, I was trying to save one, but I can protect the other two from seeing this, right? And so our men's ingrained attitude about we're supposed to be impenetrable. We're immovable objects.
Against an unstoppable force.
We're not supposed to feel things. But here's the reality. And Aaron, you came up with this. Pain is pain. Let's talk about it. Hey, guys, we feel it.
I feel it.
Absolutely.
You know, we all feel it.
I think about it every day.
It's changed all of us.
It's been 9 years. You still think about it every day, don't you?
Yeah. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about Nick.
Nope. It's not always that night, but there's always something during the day that makes me think about him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's funny to me, and I say that loosely. There's some nights I sit there and I'm just in there and I just cry. Because there's just a memory that comes up. Yeah. And I just got to think about him. And there's sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you guys, there's sometimes I have to sit there and I cannot feel miserable enough. I've just got to keep watching them videos and listening to his voice and just,
oh yeah, I've been in that before.
Just trying to make myself feel even worse because I just can't hurt enough for that night. And I don't know why. I don't want to.
Is that like, because I know you've put together some like video edits and stuff of like just memories with him. Is that like during the time that you were making those, is that something that you were trying to put yourself through? Or was it just like, I need to make something to remember him right now?
No, I think I just needed hurt and I wanted to hurt as bad as I possibly could. And I know people tell me I'm crazy for saying that, but it's the truth. This is how I felt. This is how men grieve, right?
Well, and I mean, I know that anytime you have made one of those, because you always share them, because obviously other people, like, there's no reason not to share the memories and stuff we have. But I know every time that's come out, it's like, this is devastating. And like, and you can tell, like, at least I can, maybe it's because I know you, maybe it's because I share the pain with you, but it's like, I watch this and it's like, man, this is devastating. I don't know what else to say. It's hard to watch. Even though 90% of what you put in there, probably even 100%, is all good things.
Yeah. Right.
But all it makes me think of is just, he's not here. No. Like, this is just pixels on a screen. This is just, he's not here. I'm not going to make new memories. All we can do is rewatch the ones we just happen to record. It's hard to watch, and it puts a lot in your head that you don't really think about, that I don't think other people who aren't in this same circle, like, understand or even pick up on when they watch it.
No. But they're not emotionally invested like we are.
Right.
You know, it's a different perspective that we feel. You know, I mean, I think that the loss of Nicholas obviously changed our family dynamic significantly. It changed how we viewed the future, right? Because I remember coming home from the hospital and everything in that house. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I know when I walked in there, that house was totally unfamiliar to me.
It was infinitely different.
Well, it was eerily quiet.
That too.
It was never quiet before, no matter what time you walked in. At any given moment, there was something going on. And it was like that for a long time. You know, it wasn't just that day that we came home. You know, there was months of that, if not longer. That is just, it's too quiet here.
It is
miserable. This isn't right.
I hated it.
Well, that and how often did one of us say that it's like, I'm just waiting for him to come running through the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to hear him come crashing through the door.
Yeah, that front door
kick his shoes off.
Times, right?
Kick his shoes into the wall, slip on the floor, fall down, get back up. I'm okay.
I'm okay. Or when you guys decide you were going to slide him down the stairs in the laundry basket and you're flipping all the way down. He's like, oh, that sucked.
I don't remember that. Oh, so many horrible, funny decisions we made.
Chasing them from room to room around the hallways.
Every night.
Until he slipped.
We had a perfectly circular house. It was all connected.
Or when you guys, it was after dinner, it was time for everybody to do the dishes, and all of a sudden Nick had to go poop.
Oh, that was so...
I gotta go
45 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom. My stomach hurts so bad. I'm like, nah, you can go after dishes.
There's a good loophole for him while it worked, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, there's sometimes, actually, I think he really did, because it was disgusting what he did in that bathroom. Just saying.
Always. Every time.
Well, I'm pretty sure he ate more than us combined.
Do you remember?
He was like tiny.
Do you remember we used to have to buy the 3-pound jar of peanut butter?
Yes, I do.
The Peter Pan peanut butter, like restaurant sized. Oh.
Yeah, I remember. I had to pay for it.
He would smell like peanut butter.
Everything to him is peanut butter.
Or when he ate raw bacon.
What?
You didn't know about that?
No.
Tell me about it. I never knew he ate
Why
raw
was
bacon.
he eating raw bacon?
We rode the bus home to your house, and our mom was supposed to pick us up. And for some reason, I had been outside.
Probably smoking.
No, I don't think I think I was. That's fair, but I don't think I was at that point. But anyways, he comes outside, and he's just got raw bacon. He's eating out of the bag of raw bacon. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what? It's good.
It's unhealthy, and you're going to get tapeworm.
That's what I'm saying.
Weirdo.
Like, you can't do that. Go put it back.
God, what is wrong?
He probably was like, what?
He was so confused.
You know, guys, we worked hard.
Yes, Mom. Oh.
Okay. Bye.
I cannot believe he was eating raw bacon.
I didn't know he ate raw bacon.
That's disgusting.
Did you know about that?
No.
I thought everybody knew about that.
No. That's horrible.
It definitely happened.
That is insane.
And he was so confused. He just couldn't understand why he couldn't eat raw meat.
What? I can hear it. What? Like, it's fine.
So let's ask the hard question, guys. The thing that we're supposed to be talking about. But we talk a lot about things, and I think there's some emotion there that people can pick up. But, you know, if you remember when we came home from the hospital, and actually Chloe, who just came in and interrupted us, right?
Yeah.
She didn't know anything happened. When you guys knew he wasn't going to be okay, and we knew that we were going to lose him, and you guys went and made that page, what did you guys feel like?
Personally, I think I didn't know how to feel. I was completely lost. I tried to focus on how other people were feeling and what I could do for them as much as I could. I'm not saying that I did a whole bunch of stuff, but I tried to think of more about how you were feeling or how Aaron was feeling or my mom or Marty or, you know, anybody but myself, because I didn't know how to process it. I don't feel like I could process it at that time. You know, I had no idea.
What about you, Aaron?
I remember Andrew and I were in the living room when Mom called me. And Mom said he's not going to make it. That they weren't able to do much for him. And I think I just it's one of those times where I don't remember anything else. I remember hearing Mom say that. And then I remember having to, I think I had to tell you, didn't I? Like, sure. I hung up the phone and had to tell you, he's not going to make it. And it was one of those, I guess the best way to describe it is you just feel empty. I mean,
I can relate to that for sure.
And then, I don't know, specifically when we were making that website, I think that was, because we dove pretty headfirst into that website.
Caring Bridge.
I
still have to log in. You'll actually go back and look at that sometimes.
Isn't it just like an obituary memorial page, basically? Isn't that what it was?
And I haven't looked at it for a long time, but when I want to torture myself and really make myself hurt.
Is it still active?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think it was.
Oh, yeah. It's still active.
All I can remember from that specifically was it was a good distraction.
Yeah.
Because I know we had left the whole situation up in the hospital room, because we haven't even talked about that yet, being in that room. But I know we went down to the cafeteria and got something to eat, probably in the middle of the night. And we're sitting at one of the tables working on that. And I think that just functioned as a distraction for us.
Absolutely.
Because there wasn't, we didn't have smartphones then. We didn't, no. And so it was like, we didn't have a computer or anything like that. Like, I remember sitting up there with an iPod and a notebook. And then, we had our computer, but that was just that little notebook computer. That's what we ended up doing that on. Right. You were just trying to, I just needed something else to think about other than sitting up in that hotel room, that hospital room. Because you just couldn't do anything but be sad sitting in there and trying to watch everybody else process what was going on at the same time. That wasn't easy either. Seeing, because, gosh, how many people came up to that hospital room?
I don't know.
It was a lot.
Yeah. I remember they moved us to like a conference room.
So we could all try to sleep.
Yeah, well, we could sleep, and there was just so many people that came up. It was, your family, Aaron, and there was all your extended family, Andrew, and some of my extended family, my friends, and
some of his teachers came up.
Oh, the principal and superintendent both came.
Yeah, they did.
That was rough. I remember my dad, and he was tough. God, that man was tough. Nothing shook him. Grandpa Jerry.
Yep.
Nothing shook him. And I remember him and I were walking away from the room, and he told me, he goes, I've been through a lot of things in my life, but I've never been through anything like what you're going through. And he actually cracked. That's the first time I think I've ever heard him crack.
Like his voice cracked?
His voice cracked. He was emotional.
Wow.
He'd never been through that in his lifetime. And none of us had that. I never thought when I was growing up, when I was growing up, I didn't think I'd ever have kids. I didn't want any.
Surprise, surprise.
Shocker.
You had 5.
Yeah, I was going to ride a motorcycle.
I felt the same way, and I have 3.
Right? I was going to ride a motorcycle all across the United States, a Harley Davidson, grow my hair long and do whatever I wanted. Didn't think about, you got to make money and all that kind of stuff. Instead, I got married, had 5 kids, a couple marriages, 5 kids later. But, I took everything in my life for granted because I remember the craziness of our family, but that's what I loved and I relished it. And I never thought anything would ever shake that foundation. And boy, was I wrong. It didn't just shake the foundation, it shattered it.
Because we were all pretty solid.
Yeah.
Everybody was pretty solid.
Yeah.
Until that night.
Yeah, and we've been a hot mess since.
Yeah. Pretty much.
9 years later, we're still a hot mess.
I never even considered anything like that could happen.
I didn't either.
It never even crossed your mind.
No. I remember us
worried at all.
Sitting in the game room trying to do frickin' Rock Band and trying to jam, and we were epic fails at all of that because none of us were good. But
I do have to say, though, Nick was probably the most fun to play it with.
Yeah, he got into it.
He was so into it.
Yeah, he was good at that.
He'd
Dude,
we can't put that on the podcast because you can't see it, but he'd just go nuts.
I have some videos, and I have to go back and look for them, but I've seen some where he was playing, doing this thing, and he'd fall off the end table, he'd flip the whole end table over, and then Andrew's trying to play drums, and Andrew's like, what are you doing? And Nick's like, what?
I'm just rocking out.
I'm rocking out. But do you guys remember what he sounds like?
He's real raspy. He had a little raspy voice.
Yeah. I really, really am afraid that I'll forget what he sounds like. And that eats at me every day.
I feel like it gets harder to remember. And not, because I remember, thinking about it, what it sounds like, but it's hard to actually hear it in your head.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I remember how to describe it.
Yeah.
But actually being able to hear it and have that memory of it in your mind, I feel like it gets harder and harder to be accurate.
He had a pretty distinct voice, too.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Because it wasn't exactly high-pitched, but it wasn't, like, deep either.
It was raspy.
It was pretty raspy.
That was asthma.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought he had a cool voice.
Well, we'll go with that. That's what actually caused it. But yeah, I have a fear of forgetting what he sounds like. And that is always in the back of my mind. No matter what I do. I always fear that.
Because, like, so when you go back now and you watch, like, one of these videos, not necessarily one of the ones you've, like, put together, but, like, going through your files or whatever, and you find, like, that Christmas video.
That's my favorite one.
I love that video. When we all come up in those stupid union suits.
That you guys wore forever.
Bad. Yeah, but they're awful.
Oh, I
still have one too.
But they're warm as hell, right?
They are. They're awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing that video of him, and he's like rubbing his eye, and he's like, "Whoa!"
And his hair sticking up.
It's so crazy. He had the greatest bed in.
He's like, oh.
Yeah. So, like, how does that make you feel when you see those videos? Do you see it as a happy thing, being able to relive those memories, or is it more painful?
I'm thankful for the 11 years I have with my son. I can't have any more. That was taken from me for whatever reason, and I don't split hairs on that. I will know that when it's my time. But I'm glad I had those 11 years because I think it would be worse. Maybe not even worse, just more tragic if I wouldn't have had the time with him that I had. Mm-hmm. Because he was such a big personality. He created so much aggravation in my life.
I was going to say chaos.
And chaos. But so much at the same time, it was happiness, craziness, laughter, you know. I mean, the things that he did, I mean, he was just a big personality of a very tiny little guy. A 90-pound 11-year-old kid.
There's no way he was even 90 pounds.
I mean, he impacted a lot of people's lives, not just ours. I mean, he knew all kinds of people.
That was honestly surprising, like, because I knew that he had like a lot of friends. He was a social kid, but the amount of people that either reached out or went to the funeral or shared stories about, like, I was honestly amazed.
Dude, 1,000 people went through his visitation.
Blew my mind seeing that crowd of people.
Yeah.
Because the line went out the building.
The line wrapped around. They changed it. It wrapped around. It was almost like one of those. It reminded me of when you go to Six Flags.
Yeah.
And you got to
sit there.
That
kind of like snake
all the way through. They had that going through there, and the line was wrapped around the building. I mean, there was people waiting forever. 1,000 people.
How long was that?
We went 4.5, almost 5 hours. Yeah, I remember looking at the sign-in book, and I counted all the signatures, and I was like, holy cow. 1,000 people. Do you remember his whole baseball team in their uniform came through? Mm-hmm. And they gave us the pictures as the cross team came through. Remember the day of his visitation, that was the end-of-the-year party for his... it wasn't lacrosse, it was his baseball team. It was the end-of-year party for his baseball team. They all came through, they gave us the picture. No, it was lacrosse. It was the end-of-year party for lacrosse. They gave us his jersey, they all signed it, and they gave us the pictures of him and all that kind of stuff. And then his baseball team came through because he passed away right after baseball had started. Mm-hmm. And we had those, I don't know, there's just all kinds of people. It was insane. I don't remember a lot of it. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember a lot of that. I remember seeing a few people. I remember those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I was on autopilot, man. I was on autopilot.
That's something that both of you have mentioned, being on autopilot.
Yeah, I was for a long time.
I think that's a really good descriptor of, like, you're there, but you're not there.
You're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about it. You're not processing. It's just... And I feel like that's part of the reason that my memory isn't as great as maybe your guys' is. Because there's a lot of things that I don't remember. But it's because I wasn't there. I was just doing what I was told to do or what I knew that I had to do and trying to not think about it as much as possible.
Oh, we were all there. Physically.
Right.
I mean, I think every one of us were talking. We were engaging. But we weren't there.
Like, the only people that I can really, like, remember were just, like, really close friends that were my friends. I don't remember any of his friends. I don't remember hardly anybody else. I remember 5 or 6 people out of the 1,000 that were there.
It's insane. I gave your mom Andrew, I gave your mom the sign-in book for that. So I thought, in my mind, your mom felt him first, right? She was pregnant. She felt him first.
Yeah.
She deserved it the most, But I remember I counted those, and man, there was a lot of people came through, more than I ever thought would. I remember the morning after it happened. We hadn't even talked to anybody yet. We hadn't put anything on Facebook. We didn't do the Caring Bridge. We had nothing. And I remember looking at my Facebook page, and I had all kinds of comments on my Facebook page about Nick being gone, how people were sorry. I'm like, I hadn't even posted yet.
That's an interesting thing to talk about. How do you think having the social media aspect around this affected everything?
We're in a social media world, dude.
Yeah. Do you think it was it comforting for you to see that many people trying to reach out and at least expressing something, or was it kind of like, this is all pretty meaningless? You're just typing words on a computer.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think our society as a whole has gotten away from actual human interaction, and we're more of a cyber-human interaction, right?
Yeah. This was also 9 years ago, though.
Yeah, but Facebook was still a big thing then. It's bigger now, but it was still, it was really blown up back then, but I felt, and maybe you guys can tell me how you felt, but I felt okay with the fact that people were reaching out and giving me their sympathy, because I thought it was very kind and nice. And would I feel that way today? I don't know.
I think back then it was still relatively new. And so, because I know we did a lot of communicating on there, being 16 and 15. You had just turned 15.
I had just turned 15. I was 4 days later.
We were on there constantly. And so, it's all pretty normal for us at that point.
Yeah.
But that's why I was curious about your perspective on it, because
at the time, it felt pretty good.
Do you think it would be different now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd feel a lot less personal now.
Yeah. I think it would ring a lot more hollow now.
Yeah. I think, and because I think people spend way too much time trying to communicate through Facebook.
Yeah.
We have forgotten the human interaction piece.
What I remember the most is going back, and I don't remember where exactly it was, but there was a few people that had posted stories, just memories with Nick or something. I remember going back and reading those a lot. And I like that because since it was posted, I could go back and read it.
Right.
And I could imagine him doing it. I could definitely see him doing that, or I had no idea he did that, but that's amazing. You know what I mean? Just being surprised by, learning something new about him after I thought that I had known him so well.
Well, yeah, he's 11. How much of a different life do you think he was living outside of us?
Apparently quite a bit.
Yeah, I know. I thought that's why it was so surprising.
I just thought that was interesting. I remember going back and reading those stories over and over again, and that is the one thing that I appreciated about it being online, is that I could go back and read it again if I wanted to. And, if there was something I didn't like, then I knew how to skip over it. I knew how to... Right. Not have it show up again. Whereas a conversation, you can't really avoid that.
Yeah.
And also, you can't go back and you can't replay a conversation. I mean, maybe in your memory, but you can't read it on a computer word for word like you can if it's posted. So I did appreciate that.
You can definitely replay videos. That's one thing I will always commit. I will take more videos, at least more memories somehow. Because, the reality of this, guys, we don't know when our time's going to come, but by God, I want to make sure we have as many memories as we possibly can. Like your mom's 50, I'm not too far from it. And
she's going to be mad you put that on here?
Oh, I remind her that every day. She's 50 and I'm not. But, the reality is, guys, that we're on the back half of our lives. 30 years from now.
I'm only 26.
Yeah. Well, when you're 56, me and your mom are going to be gone.
Oh, you meant you, yeah.
Yeah. Me and your mom are on the back half of our lives. You're going to love the videos and pictures you have.
Oh, yeah.
But I tell you, I never thought I'd ever have to wish I had more from my son. Yeah. I never planned that. I never factored that into my life when I was marrying your mom, Erin, and having your guys' sister, Chloe, because she's crazy. But I never thought as we went through our crazy life with all 5 kids and everybody else that I'd ever have to factor that in. That just wasn't a plan. I didn't plan for that. And I'll tell you, not planning for that, but you would never plan for something like that.
I was just about to say, no, you can't plan for that. There's no thought in your mind that that's ever going to happen.
Made me realize, as stubborn as I am, and as people view me as tough or whatever it is. I know I'm stubborn, but there's nothing that's ever shaken me like that. That almost destroyed me. And I thought I was pretty tough internally. I don't mean tough like I can go beat up people. I thought I was really emotionally strong and solid. And that proved to me that I am not a strong person at all. It reminded me that I am actually human and I can and will be broken.
I feel like that was a surprising realization for me. Because until that point, I had never seen you cry or be emotional in that same way.
See, and I was just going to say, I don't even remember seeing you cry.
Exactly. I had never seen him cry. I had never seen him.
Even
that
during
emotional or
this.
that. It almost seemed like you were lost for a while, and I don't know if you would describe it that way, but you could just tell you weren't yourself. I had never seen you like that, and I think that was really surprising for me. It was a big realization that you're human too, because you always kind of looked up to you, and you're strong and smart and everything like that.
It put me in a place I never thought I'd ever had to try to figure out how to deal with. It let me know I was not unbreakable.
Gave you a dose of humility.
Oh, it didn't give me a dose of humility. It completely broke me.
Oh, well, yeah.
When to your point, when you're saying you didn't even see who, you couldn't recognize me. I was destroyed. I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure it was a struggle even to wake up every day and to just look in the mirror. And it was crazy. Because I was like, God, I don't even know. I want to be strong for my kids that are still here. I want to be the foundation, but I am utterly and completely destroyed. Everything I was is gone. And it's not that Nick was more important than anybody. It was the loss of a child and the fact that I had to put my son in the ground. And it's so unnatural and so out of how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's the rule. But the rule was broken. And so I had to bury my son, and I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know how to be strong for that. I could be strong for all five of, you 5 kids and your mom and me and living in that big house and trying to feed you freaking animals every day. I could be strong for that. I could be strong for the dumb crap you guys did in school where, you get in trouble for whatever you did, Andrew, and you not doing your homework and people not getting right grades. I could be strong for that. The boyfriends and the girlfriends and all the dumb things that kids do. I was great with that. There was nothing in my life that anybody ever told me I had to prepare for to be strong for something like that. I'd lost my grandpa. I'd gone through stuff like that, but this, that ripped a hole in my chest and took my heart out and took my being and who I thought I was, and it destroyed it all. It shattered me, and I didn't even know who I was at that point. Because I didn't know that could even happen in my life. And then the fact that I had to try to figure out how to rebuild, still be strong for you guys, so try to maintain a family, and then heal from that, I failed. I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to do it. I wasn't prepared for something like that. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I realized life was continuing on. So I had 2 choices. Either I stopped with life, or I started figuring out how to move on with it. Well, stopping with life was never an option for me, because I'm not going to do that.
Did that ever even cross your mind?
No, not even for a second. Because I still had a life to live. Right. And I had you guys, and we started having grandkids. Sorry. Yeah, all you guys should be. But I had to start, and so what I made my mind up to do was, I just got out of bed one day, and I said, you know what? Today's a new day. I'm just going to get through today.
And it was just like that. You just woke up and was like, I'm done.
I was done. I was tired of being empty. I was tired of not feeling anything. I was tired of feeling like I was stuck and the world was moving around me. I had to start getting back and participating in the world. Now, have I been great since then? No. Obviously, I have not been. Your mom and I have separated. We've had our issues. We've had our ups and our downs. We made bad decisions and good decisions. We've done all those things. I did not say when I started to do that I was going to do everything right. I clearly did not.
Well, I think everyone in the family made bad decisions after that.
Sure. Absolutely. But I just knew
it was not just you.
No.
Don't think it was just you. No. We all turned stupid.
No, yeah. I mean, I just knew I was tired of being and feeling that way.
Right.
But I also made peace with the fact that I knew I was never going to feel or be who I was before. That person, that guy, he's changed. There's parts of me that are still that way. But I'll never be that 100% again. Good, bad, or different. That is what it is.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the first episode of How Men Grieve. Stay tuned for new episodes coming soon. Want to talk about it with us? Join our Facebook and Instagram pages. There's a link in the description. If you guys have any questions for us or want to share your own stories, send us an email at howmengrieve@gmail.com. Also, please don't forget to subscribe and review us on iTunes. Thanks for listening.